Good evening and welcome to the Friends of Anchor Golf Day 2022 from Peterculter Golf Club. And well, the weather a little better than expected, so all the golfers out getting ready, getting warmed up. It's important to have a good warm-up. Just ask Colin Rushton. He's struggling. Oh dear, that sounds a bit painful. Yeah, I wouldn't go for that full body lunge if I was you, Colin. I'd go looking for the WD-40 somewhere. Well, up on the practice putting green, it's Blair Moyer. Most important part of your game, the putting, of course, and Blair knows this. He's a scratch golfer. He's a perfectionist, you could say. So he hit that putt on the practice putting green and he saw that it broke off to the right. So he takes it back to the place where he hit it before. He's learned. He's looked and he's learned absolutely nothing by the looks of it. Missing again to the right. And it will, just pretend you're practicing your swing. That's probably a good idea. Scratch golfer, image to maintain. All about warm-up. Warm-ups can even be competitive. And there we go, Dave Pratt, he's out with the stretch bands. Colin Milne in the background trying to keep up. Watch, Dave's doing that, I'm going to do that. No, he's just given up. He cannot, Colin cannot match Dave Pratt's warm-up. Yeah, he's looking on, just admiring. Look at the moves there from Dave. Lovely stuff. Well, speaking of, I think we've finally loosened up Colin Rushton. Ready for some action, I think. Oh, smooth. Snake hips, Rushton. That's the kind of movement you want to take onto the first tee and onto the dance floor later on at night, it has to be said. Well, back with Blair. Well, we saw him hit one putt, go off to the right, back to the same place, second putt, go off to the right, and impressive stuff. It's a hat trick of exactly the same miss there for Blair Moyer. Well, best just to move on. Here's one man that will never be rushed into action until he's absolutely ready to go. Scott Stewart, all that fidgeting, all that fiddling, just for a practice swing. But now he's ready, he's over the ball, and he's ready for some more twitching. Ready for, well, the cues are building up behind him. He's going to get a penalty for slow play if he doesn't hurry up, and he hasn't even teed off in the first. In fact, I think we're running out of memory in the camera. We'll probably need to move on if we're going to have any other action from any other golfers. So we've moved out and we're on to the second, and it's Kenny Anderson. Now the wind is getting up a little bit, so you might want to take a lower loft of a club. Not too sure if I'd have went with the 2-iron just to pop it over the ditch there in front of the green, Kenny, but well, he's kept it low under the wind. That was the name of the game, so he'll be delighted. At least he's got things moving. Now Darren Hall up on 7. Darren, a very deliberate putter. He's a little bit of a nervous putter. Well, he's developed a bit of the yips. He's not very happy at all. I mean, the hole's miles away. It's not like one of these tap-ins. Oh, well, we're going to have to leave Darren, go back to Scott Stewart. Is Scott ready to go? He's been on the tee 16 minutes now. And ready to rip one right down the middle, right down the seam of the fairway. No, we're going to have to move away again. Back to Darren. Is Darren ready to hit his putt? Which one of these golfers will actually make contact first? Is Darren? Was it worth waiting for? It absolutely was. Fantastic putt there from Darren. Well, I can tell you Scott's still on the tee, but never mind. Now, usually we get a bigger celebration. We haven't had any celebration. He sees the camera. Just a little celebration. Yeah, it's quite right too. Now, we can move back onto the second, and the players looking for a ball. Well, 3 of the players looking for a ball. Brian Jameson, he's looking for something else. In fact, he's looking for the beer cart. He was promised beer on the course, and he's off, and he's getting it. Brian Jameson, a man who knows why he's here, and it's certainly not to play golf. Back to the first, Colin Rushton, all warmed up, ready to go. Oh no, he didn't warm up quite enough. No, that hurt. Yeah, too many dance moves, and that, well, it's pretty wide open fairway the first. Colin testing just how wide it is. Well, it's wide enough for Fraser Dobie, that's for sure. One of the straightest hitters in the field today, Fraser. Straight down the middle every time, only 30 yards, but straight down the middle. Just made it off the front of the tee. And rolling away. Of course, a Texas scramble though. If you hit a drive like that, you can always rely on one of your partners. You can use their ball. Oh, and just teeing it up nicely there, Scott Bremner. The ball was sitting down, but it's a scramble. You can place it, you can set it up. Make sure you slide the club right underneath. A little bit too much. Nowhere near the green. That ball sitting up too nicely, obviously, for Scott. Well, there you go. Look at that. I was wrong. I would have thought that Fraser Dobie, they might not have used the drive. Well, he's continuing with the straight down the middle, but 30 yards at a time, which is fine if you're comfortable with it. But unfortunately, he's out with Alan Gebbe, who's one of the most impressionable golfers in the field today, and he's just copying. He basically, everything that Fraser does, Alan does as well, which would be fine if Fraser was hitting at 300 yards. But he's not. He's just kind of blobbing it 30 yards at a time. Well, back with Brian Jameson. He found the beer cart. He had a couple of beers. Has it affected him? Nope. That's pretty much his standard shot. Knocking it miles past the flag. Nowhere near the hole. And Brian Jameson completely unaffected by the beers. Now, Steve Gibb. Steve, very experienced player. He's been playing a long, long time. He knows just to keep it on the short stuff. Oh dear, it's all going wrong for Steve. It's not like the old days. We've actually got some footage of the last time Steve won a golf tournament. Yes, there it was. Well, he's still got that hat. He's lost the moustache. He's still got the jacket. Yeah, that was the last time that Steve Gibb won a golf tournament. But back to the present day. And of course, Texas Scramble, used the best shot you've got from the team. So, a bit surprised to see Steve Jarvie hitting from here for his approach. Will he go up? They must have room to get up and over the trees here at 6. Nope, Steve just right through the middle of them. Well, he got through the trees, no problem. So he's got absolutely no excuse for not hitting the green, quite frankly. But luckily he's out with Gary McGowan. Gary's got a very lofty club. He is clearing the trees. Well, he's up and over. I think that's pretty impressive. Even more impressive when you see the ball come down onto the green. What a great shot. Well, if you're impressed by that shot, up and over the trees and onto the green. This was Gary. We moved the camera around so you could have a better look at the putt. And up and up and in. Well, he's not even celebrating. He must do it all the time. Magnificent stuff from Gary McGowan. Yes. And this team going very well indeed. Now up to 18. And Bill Main. Oh, in the back door. And Bill has holed a putt. And look at the celebrations. Handshakes all round. That is a magnificent 7 for that team. They will be delighted. Oh, beautiful stuff from Bill. Now back to 6. Oh no, and I'm hearing this is Robbie Duncan. Now Robbie, well, there's a lot of bickering in golf at the moment, isn't there, with the new Live Tour and the PGA Tour and the European Tour, the DP Tour. They're all falling out with each other, and that can filter down. Robbie playing alongside Linda Duncan, and they're just not getting on at all, so much so that Linda's just taking action to stay as far away from Robbie as possible. Even a Texas Scramble, well, there's a good par 3 between those two balls, and I hope they can make up at some point soon. Now, here we have James Oliver on the first. And in. Well, we can't do any better than that. Sink a putt for the team. It counts. Nobody can do any better, except the whole of James's team think that they can do better, and they would have sank their putts. And well, some of them proving themselves right. What a bit of a waste, I would have thought. Yeah, don't let that go in. No, but yes, well, you know, if you didn't have anything to prove, boys, just move on. And we can move out to 5. Kenny Anderson. Kenny, oh, he's been a little bit bold with that. Will it drop? Oh, unbelievable. That was in, that was back out. Well, I think we're going to have another look at that. A super slow-mo as the ball comes in. It is in, it is down, it is back out again. Defying the laws of physics. Kenny Anderson. Now, out to the 4th. James, save right. James, well, he's a little bit scunnered with his golf. He certainly doesn't like the 4th hole. So he's just taking things into his own hands, not enjoying it, just decided to move straight over to the 5th. He's going to miss out the 4th altogether, up at the green. Unfortunately, there's a game in front though, so I don't know if he can go straight onto the tee. Now 7, Colin Milne. How do you fancy your chances? He's playing a little bump and run. It's where you need to read all the bumps, all the borrows. You need to get yourself a good bounce. That's a terrible bounce. He read nothing. And well, next time just float it towards the flag, I think. It's just to move back to the 1st, I think. And here we have Graham Little. Graham, that's in, that's in, that's in. It's on the edge. He's hovering on the edge. And Graham can't believe it. He's just stormed off. He's refusing to mark it. No, he's been told he has to mark it. Well, he's hoping it's still going to drop. It might do when he goes to mark it. Well, I'd have to just bump that in if I was you, Graham. Anyway, we can move out to 18. And here we have footballing legend Russell Anderson. And in, well, Russell only managing 5 or 6 games of golf a week these days, so that's quite impressive that he managed to hold out there for his team. And a nice finish, handshakes all round, lovely stuff. Must be getting a few tips from Richie Ramsey, I think. So we can move back to the 1st. And, well, nobody managed to hold the putt that Graham just missed, so he has to knock it in from about 2 centimetres. And so, well, has that dropped? I'm not sure. Well, that ball didn't go. Oh, well, one for the referees to have a look at. I do hope everything's all right. Just, well, maybe a little bit too powerful. Speaking of power, Matthew Bleakley. Look at the power. One of the longest putters in the field today. One of the longest short games. Magnificent strength. But luckily, they've managed to persuade James Seabright to come back from the 5th tee. He wanted to miss out the 4th. I've no idea why, when he's capable of such heroic putting like that. Well, we've seen a few putts roll in today. Magnificent stuff. Most golfers seem to know what they're doing when it comes to putting, but Craig Sangster having to point out what a hole is to his team and that they should be trying to get the ball in it. I've got no idea what's going on there. Ah, well, it's Colin Milne. Fair enough, he's got absolutely no idea what he's meant to be doing anywhere on the golf course, especially after that warm-up. Now we can move back to 7 and Gary Forbes, just off the edge of the green here. Looking up. Well, he's pretty used to missing the green, so it's good that his team have made sure that he's missed the green again, and it shows. Well, there is a man he's had so much practice from not being on the green ever, that he's just perfected that little chip on. In fact, nobody's going to do better than that. They're all smiling, they're laughing, and well, Darren Hall's asking him to mark that ball because he seems to think that he'll be able to do better. And well, Gary Forbes trying to suppress the laughter on his way up, getting another ball out the way as Darren Hall waits patiently for that ball to be marked. And you might be laughing out there, you might be thinking, well, you know, nobody's going to beat Gary Forbes, especially Darren Hall. But if you're thinking he won't, you're absolutely right. He's just flopped it straight into a bunker in front of him. And, well, that was just a bit of a waste of everybody's time, quite frankly, Darren. Yes, go and get the ball out. Out to 10, Emmanuel Velinov, massive drive to here. He's got unbelievable power, this boy. Struggles to control it, it has to be said, but unbelievable power from Emmanuel. Well, that sounded dangerous, that sounded like a gun going off, and it can be dangerous out the course, especially if you're a cameraman, especially if Ailsa Churchill is out on the course. Now, we might not see the ball, but we'll need to listen in here. Oh no, Johnny's been hit. I'm off to check my insurance, and with that we have to say good night from the Friends of Anchor Golf Day 2022.